Welcome to your Daily Writing Habit, episode number 356. If you're writing a book or thinking about it or trying to finish a book that you've started or trying to help market and promote your book, you are in the right place. Good morning. I'm your host, Christine Whitmarsh, also known as Christine Inc., Christine-Inc., INK.com. Each day I'm sharing with you the writing habits I've learned over my 18 years as a ghostwriter, book coach, and author. I have found that three things in particular have a huge impact on your success as an author, and they have the ability to turn a, quote, non-author into a published author of books. Those three things are writing fundamentals, productivity, and mindset habits. Here's today's quote. Habits are formed by the repetition of particular acts. They are strengthened by an increase in the number of repeated acts. Mortimer Adler. Habits, habits, habits. Something that's like a theme with me, huh? Anybody else notice? That's how you get your books done. You have a writing habit, like a daily writing habit. So as many of you probably know by now, I have a new Writer Wednesday series. Every Wednesday, what I'm doing is giving you some of the highlights of my process for developing and writing books. Something, again, I've been doing for 18 going on 19 years and just dozens and dozens of books. So the best news is I'm doing it in the most actionable way possible. So rather than giving you a ton of details and content and lessons that might be hard to consume, I'm going to pose 3 questions for each topic. So every Wednesday, what I'm doing is revealing one piece of my process, a process people normally work with me one-on-one for, and I'm going to deliver it to you via 3 questions so you can get to work writing your book. Today's topic is how to get your first week and even month of writing your book off to a solid start. And like I said before, normally I would now give you 3 action questions on this topic, but this week I'm going to give you my 3 best tips instead. And for those of you about to start writing your book, I would encourage you to do all of these now, today. So get everything in motion right away. So number 1, schedule your first writing session on your calendar right now. So if you've been thinking about writing a book and you have it hopefully developed at least to some degree, you have some idea of what you're going to write about. Even if you don't, give yourself time to do that and schedule your first writing session a little further out. But get it on the calendar. Make this a thing. Make this real. Bring it to reality. And putting it on your calendar, as we know, whenever we make appointments or phone calls or anything we used to do in life when we got to go outside, we'd make appointments to go places and see people. Once it's on the calendar, okay, now it's a real thing. Schedule your first writing session on your calendar now. If possible, choose a day and block of time that will work either every week or most weeks and make it your top priority to sit down during that time and work on your book. So like I have a client where for her first thing Sunday mornings, and she has it on her calendar, first thing Sunday mornings, and she even, I forget which time it is, but she has a block of, I think 2 or 3 hours of time. And every single Sunday morning, that's exactly what she does. She has herself completely trained. So even if you need to start with, so that she does a few hours, if you even need to start with 15 or 30 minutes, pick a time period that you will stick with week after week after week, day after day after day. So maybe 15 minutes a day is easier for you than 2 hours a week. So don't worry, especially during week 1, about all the many facets of writing a book. Rather, get in the practice simply of showing up every week for your writing date with yourself. Lock in that habit. Most important thing. That's why I talk about it so much. You noticed? Some of my regulars like, oh my God, the schedule thing. Oh, we know. Yep, that's why I'm going to keep saying it. Number 2, unplug everything. Here's another one that I can't emphasize enough. There's no kinda here that I've ever found to be effective. No kinda unplug. Turn off all the notifications, the noise, all the other cues in your life. By the way, all these cues, these beeps and these notifications and the alerts, they have your brain completely trained to react rather than to create and originate. So as long as those things are on, you're in some kind of automated pattern. Trust me, our brains are very good at programming us without us realizing it. So as long as those things are on, what you're doing is just, you're leaving yourself open to those brain reactions of, when something beeps or something flashes on the screen or something like that, you immediately go to it. It's just, our brain is trained this way. So the only way I found to break this pattern is shut everything off when you actually want to sit down and create. And finally, my third tip for how to get your first week or even first month of writing off to an awesome start Don't read or edit your work until week 2 or even month 2. Don't give your inner critic the opportunity to create excuses for you to quit. Your job for, we'll just say month 1 at this point. I would say, let's see how many of you can just avoid looking at your work. Just get it on the page. I mean, obviously you're looking at it as you're writing it, but not to go back and look at it and analyze it and give yourself chances to get freaked out. How many of you can keep your work kind of locked away from yourself for month 1? Because your job during this first month of writing is to keep your writing date with yourself and get everything out of your brain onto paper. The subject of, is this any good, is useless at this point in the process. That will come later, and hopefully it will come from an objective place, whether from someone else like a beta reader or an editor or a coach, or from yourself when you have a big enough chunk of your book done to have a better view of where you are and where you're headed, and therefore what needs to be adjusted. So you see what I mean? If you don't have enough, if you only have a few pages, how can your opinion be an objective, well-formed one? I mean, it's not going to be objective in the first place because it's you and it's your writing and you have the inner critic. But if you really don't have enough of your book written, how can you have the opinion that it's bad? There's not enough there to form an opinion. So you need to have a good amount so you can actually see, all right, where is this thing going? Now that I've figured it out, I can make adjustments. So you can make legitimate edits to your work, not emotional adjustments to your work. So I hope these tips help you out, especially those of you who we're in quarantine and maybe you've just decided to start writing your book. So you're in these early stages, and I hope these 3 tips will help you get off to a positive and productive and joyful start of your book writing. Thank you for joining me here on Your Daily Writing Habit, where I am helping you write and finish writing an awesome book. And please drop by my Ink Authors group, Ink Authors on Facebook, and let us know how we can support you. Until tomorrow, happy writing.